but in a best-of-5, Game 1 can sometimes be the most important game.
Oh yeah, especially when you've been waiting a whole week to play this game. And again, obviously we talked about the last game, all the nightmare scenarios running through your head as a player about how you might lose and be out of the LCS. It's your job you're playing for, basically. And for Mysterious Monkeys, losing that first game, it's rough because actually it was pretty one-sided in favor of NIP once they started getting some of those leads. Now, Monkeys did pick red side, potentially to try and get last pick for Kikis up in that top lane. So far, we're right back at the ban 80 carry type train.
And a Gnar ban actually coming out from NIP as well, so maybe they're thinking that Kikis would go for a more carry-orientated top laner rather than just a pure tank.
Definitely possible. Gnar is a great blind pick. Prophet and NIP probably not feeling confident enough in executing some of the different counters against it. NIP should aim to just get, again, a composition that can team fight. It was definitely easier for them to actually play out the game compared to what we saw last week against Giants for Ninjas and Pyjamas. I like the Javan pickup. Shook had a fine performance, and more importantly, it's just a guaranteed engage tool.
Gets you right into that backline, means that you can set up these fights pretty easily. We do see the Rakan ban coming out for the Mysterious Monkeys, so they don't want to have to deal with Spartel on that. But Spartel's shown us a good Alistar across the course of the split, shown us that his Thresh can be quite strong as well, so there's still a bunch of different options.
Yeah, the Rakan ban is still a little bit interesting. With Xayah already moved on NIP side, I don't think you need to be that scared of it, but fair enough. They do respect it from Spartel's side. Alistar could be a big pick in this series. Again, offers the same team fighting presence we saw before. And it will get locked in here for the Monkeys. So, NIP, I'm smelling the Taric. I will keep saying that until I see people pick more Taric, because I love him in these fights, especially when you have a Javan who can dive in and you can kind of connect it with him. But there's still a lady carries, also supports like Tam Kench and Braum.
I think Thresh especially, actually, when you've got a pick comp that we saw NIP sort of play in the last one, lots of ultimates combining up. It is going to be the Morgana instead, so we're both entirely wrong, Deficio.
Yeah,
not the first time today that we've been entirely wrong.
This was not a prediction, it was more hope.
Okay.
I just want to see more Taric. I know these teams do not agree with me, but I really do want to see more of him. Anyway, Morgana locked in, Black Shield to annoy both the Gragas and the Alistar here. Koshu gets his Cassiopeia and he can ban away 2 mid laners. If there's anything he does not want to deal with, let's say a Lucian mid lane or an Orianna, he can actually take that away from Nagne.
Cassiopeia actually Kosku's highest win rate mid laner, 3-2 on that across the course of the split, and now we are going to see those mid lane bans. It's the Syndra and Camille actually removed by NIP rather than by Mysterious Monkeys.
Both teams really respecting their last pick Camille in these drafts here. Orianna is still left open if Nagne wants to play it, so is his Lucian that he had a lot of success on last week. Galio also available in this draft, and you can definitely take Galio against Cassiopeia after the adaptive helmet buffs. It is not an awful matchup for you. So even with the Syndra ban, I don't think Nagne cares at all. I think actually he has plenty of mid-lane picks left that he's happy to pick.
And then I think our eyes have to turn to the top lane as well, because this Gragas could be top 4 Kikis. Amazing could take it into the jungle as well. And Mysterious Monkeys do have that top lane counter as their final pick if they want to keep it. So there's a lot of opportunity for the Mysterious Monkeys to allow Kikis to play a split pusher once again.
Exactly. We really want to see 80 carry be locked in here for Mysterious Monkeys to save that option for Kikis. The last Kaden is still left open, but we see a lot of mixed opinions on her right now from the different teams. Some teams don't even want to touch her, other teams still think she's okay. She's not locked in this game here. It is the Varus bot lane, and Varus is one of the champions who really struggles against Jarvan specifically, because if you do not have flash, you're never getting out when the engage happens. But NIP would need a bit more backline dive if they want to be a massive threat against Yuki in fights.
So to do that, you need a diving top laner and perhaps that Galio as well for that backline?
Yeah, could definitely be an option. Okay, that's a very late hover, so it is actually locked in.
Oh, baby. Okay, I love Azir as a champion because I don't play mid lane. I know a lot of mid lane mains who hate Azir as a champion.
Azir is picked right here because one of the weaknesses... Ooh, okay, this is actually... I saw a little bit of this over in the LPL with their, Ardent Sensor Ivern, but sadly, we do not get it this time around. We do get Prophet, though, getting his Renekton, but the Azir, one of the counters to Cassiopeia is very long range because she relies on 700 range with a Twin Fang to deal DPS. She can't really move around a lot in fights effectively. There is a lot of long range abilities with Ash volley, bindings from Morgana, and of course the soldiers hitting from Anazir. And you can use your wall effectively to set up ganks against Cassiopeia.
It's going to be a top lane tank once again for Kicker, so we'll have to see how effective he is in this game. The Galio into Renekton matchup, not one we've seen too commonly recently. No,
exactly. It's actually quite interesting with Kicker's choices here, even when he has counter picks, but it is a Renekton being locked in on the side of NIP and with a Jarvan jungle, so there's quite a lot of threat against Kikis, and that's why some top laners are happy to say, I'm going to grab a tank. I know the laning phase is going to suck, but my only job is to try and stay alive, and I will be more useful in the late game than the Renekton you are playing against.
We've seen the Mysterious Monkeys play for the late game before this year.
Just saying.
Is that what this competition is trying to do, though? Because they seem to have a bit of a mismatch with the Varus not being as strong later on into the game.
Well, Varus is strong if he's allowed to sit there and actually deal damage. That's the problem. In order to do that, you need to have the enemy already busy. You need to have, cooldown on their dashes and engages so the Varus is safe. Renekton, Jarvan can get onto Varus pretty easily in fights. So that is where we're going to see different fights from Yuki. One fight he has flash ready and he's feeling safe, he deals great amount of damage. The next fight, no flash, he deals no damage because he has to constantly run away and be scared. But that's always the risk with Ashe and Varus and these kind of AD carries right now. There's Zia though, that's the interesting one because NIP are trying to say, we need late game insurance. And Zia will always offer you that. His late game is fantastic. His early game, however, is fairly slow. And Cassiopeia can out-trade him early. He's always a champion you can actually try and target with ganks and see if you can shut him down.
A vital match for Mysterious Monkeys here. 1-0 down against NIP in this best of 5. If NIP take this, they're just a single win away from facing Schalke tomorrow. And Mysterious Monkeys will drop to the European Challenger Series, a position that all 5 of these members were just 4 months ago.
Which almost makes it even harder or even worse for them because you just made it in.
Especially for someone like Cosq. Like, for the last 3 or 4 years, he's been sitting at the bridge, at the brink of the LCS. He's been the gatekeeper. It's like, if you beat me, you can make the LCS. If I lose, then I'm not able to make it myself. And now he's got there. He got his chance, and he had a disappointing split overall.
Cosq ended up facing a better mid laners than he was used to. It was a big challenge for him, and he's one of those players where we were hoping for more. He still has another chance. Like, he's still a young guy. Like, you can requalify to LCS. You can use all the practice you got in the first split to actually learn and improve, like we've seen from other players, and then have a much better second or third split. But for Cosq to have that, he still needs to get back into the LCS. And for now, he's sitting the losers match down 1-0 against NIP.
And he has to deal with Nagne in the lane as well. Early on, we said that perhaps Cosq will be able to harass Nagne down, but Nagne does have that long-range poke in this lane as well.
But Cosq can just be aggressive when he sees the soldier placed, try and look for the pure 1v1s. As a Cassiopeia, though, after level 6, you always got to look for the jungler. We talked about the engage from an Azir knocking Cosq back, and that is an easy kill for a Jarvan specifically. But amazing also on the Gragas. Can be active, we've seen that before from him. Mainly loves to go top lane. It's a Galio versus Renekton. Not really the lane you want to gank if you're amazing. Look mid lane, look bot lane. There's probably more openings.
Do you need to shut down Prophet, though? Because he's had some very strong early game statistics in last week, especially against Giants. Even had a strong game against Kikis in the last matchup. Went ahead in all of his statistics and actually did it without much help from Shook.
Yeah, obviously a Giant strategy is often to leave their top lane at Ruin just alone. Even if he has a bad matchup, just leave him there to suck it up. And Prophet took advantage of that. He won that lane. And Prophet has done the same against some LCS top laners. He did it in the last game. Like, if he has a good matchup, he's able to get a big advantage and actually take tower down. And then what we need to see more from Prophet is him using that advantage to snowball the rest of the team. But we saw a bit of it last game. I think he had a good performance on the Gnar. We want to see more of it. Shutting him down for a Gragas Galio, that is difficult. That is very hard to do. So you might have to accept that Renekton will just win this lane and you try and outscale.
Amazing has been tracked in his jungle here. Shook perhaps looking up towards that top lane for a gank. Can use the blast cone to jump across towards the Krugs if he wants, as Kikis has pushed up just a little bit. Do you go for a dive on a Galio, Deficio? Do you do it if you're Jarvan Renekton?
That is the one thing that's super difficult to do against Galio with his damage reduction, his CC. Bot lane instead, though, as we mentioned, that's where Amazing can look for a play. Black Shield.
Already being used, and the Ignite onto Hikyu as well. Amazing looking for it there. Dodges out the... Wow. Okay, that was a lot of damage. Yeah, that's a bit more damage than I was expecting, in all honesty. First blood to the Mysterious Monkeys.
So this is what we want to see from Amazing. Look away from the top lane for once. Actually try and snowball someone else on your team. Successful first gank. No summoners used by NIP, though. They realized they were not getting out. Mid lane, we had Shook steal away the camp and look for a potential gank, but let's see the fight once again. Dreams just engages onto Hikyu, and it doesn't even matter if there's a Black Shield or not, if he gets knocked up or anything, because he's so far up the lane that there's just no way out. Like, this binding from Spraddle, technically, if it lands, great, you might survive, or at least have to use summoners to survive, but here, good flash from Amazing to get out of it, and then there's no way out.
And this is what we want to see from Amazing as well. He needs to be ganking lanes other than Kikis, because in his series against Schalke, when he ganked away from Kikis, he actually did a lot more for his team. They actually ended up winning when he wasn't near Kikis early on.
Yeah, as Stress said on the analysis coming into this game, like, it almost became a liability for Mysterious Monkeys that they always went top lane because it was so predictable, and teams started being like, okay, let's just try and counterpick Kikis, and then suddenly his matchup is not that great, and ganking for him is harder. So what Amazing did was he went mid lane, he went bot lane, and it proved to actually be quite good, because suddenly you have two lanes who might actually be ahead and winning instead of just the one lane where Kikis is in. So I quite like the adaptation with putting Kikis on more tanks and try and rely on team fighting. Now we just need to see if Yuki and Koskyu can execute late game fights, because the Vladimir last game was not good enough in the late game fights to win the game.
And that was against a team that didn't have as much late game as well. Here you've got the Azir to try and match up in those late game fights. It doesn't feel as cut and dry who's the early game team and who's the late game team in this second game of the best of 5.
Yeah, with the Renekton on the side of NIP, I definitely feel like they have a few more tools to use, but they still have the great scaling, as you mentioned. On the side of Mysterious Monkeys, it is a lot about surviving top lane for Kikis. Just use the wave clear Galio brings. Literally just wave clear, wave clear, wave clear, and just play safe and see if you can match CS, then that's perfect. And then otherwise, if you're the Monkeys, get Yuki further ahead, get Koskyu in a good position, and then you can still, for sure, get to the late game and really start being powerful with this comp.
Yuki has not played Varus this split in the EU LCS, but did play it a lot in Challenger Series in the Spring Split, and actually had the highest damage numbers, damage per minute, of any AD carry in the Challenger Series on Varus. He's very comfortable on this champion. He knows it very well. And although it might not be the best AD carry in the current meta, it's definitely a comfort pick for him.
Oh, let's see what happens. Bot here. Black Shield getting broken.
Sparsel's going to get knocked up. Dreams there as well. Hikyu gets a bit of damage across the wall.
I think Dreams was hoping that Spraddle would just kind of panic flash and get out of it, but Spraddle was like, yeah, you don't have any damage.
He's done this rodeo before. Yeah, he's been around a little bit.
Why would he care? You can just waste your mana and then he just walks out.
So just looking down across these numbers at the moment, Deficio, my eye is drawn to the jungle matchup, because at the moment, Shook has almost a 30 CS advantage over Amazing, and I know that jungle CS is not the best indicator of who's ahead and who's doing well, but it seems like quite a gargantuan margin for Shook to be ahead.
It really just depends on which camps he's been killing. He's been taking away the Crocs twice. There's a lot of CS in those two specifically, so Amazing has not been getting some of those camps with a lot of CS, which is obviously where you see the big difference. But as you do highlight, it does matter, and obviously Shook is ahead in experience, so you see the goal difference is about 400 for the Jarvan, despite Amazing getting an assist on that first blood. So Shook has not been ganking, but he's been just taking away the one camp in Amazing's jungle twice, and then of course his own camps, and he's just rushing towards level 6.
And we need to see him ganking as well. He has got that Thunderlord, so it's an aggressive Jarvan, trying to get those extra ganks off, trying to get that damage down with the Keystone, but hasn't been able to work out the exact paths in which he wants to gank.
I think mid lane is an option right now, with Nagni's ulti being available, Cataclysm being available for Shook. The first gank might not give you a kill, but they will give you a flash. And then the second gank, the return gank, should guarantee it. They're looking for Amazing first.
Prophet has the pushing lane, has the Dominus, has the Cataclysm. Amazing misses his flash. And NIP secure a kill and a red buff for themselves.
No wards to spot the invade here. Prophet walks into the red buff area. Kiki surely should have called that one, but instead it's amazing. Dying, that's a really good kill for NIP. Very important that he goes over to the Renekton, who's trying to win this lane here. And Black Shield did not get broken. This is why you put a lot of skills in the Black Shield early as a Morgana and don't just get useless abilities like a W. Because then suddenly the Alistar will actually not be a big
W
threat.
gets you waves. Heal actually being used here as well as the root doesn't quite connect down towards that bottom side. Dark Binding is the name.
What Sprattle is doing right now is just maxing his Black Shield. The goal, as we saw here, is to make sure Alistar will not break it with a full combo, because then there's no follow-up CC that can land. Hiku, or Yuki right there, did not manage to actually connect with his ulti due to the Black Shield still being there. Sprattle is trying to be annoying. Stop the recall. Got a deep ward.
Using the Blast Cone as well means that if Amazing wants to try and sneak into that bush, he has to body slam across, and you just delay the time for that gank. Nagne's going to pick up his own blue as Cosq got his. It's been a very even middle lane, and now that Nagne's picked up the Stinger, is this the point at which we start to see this lane go in Azir's favor?
I mean, it's been even all the time. Both of them are literally just kind of accepting that it's really hard for Cosq to walk in range of Nagne, so they're just kind of trying to farm and push it out while Nagne gets a few hits on Cosq. And yes, he's going to start to be more and more threatening. I'm still waiting for Shook to show up, but first it's top lane.
Amazing showing up top as Prophet just flashes across there. No chase from Kikis or Amazing. They decided not to go any further for Prophet, but they have burnt his flash now.
Kikis, just like last game, trying to just hold on in his lane. Eventually, that tower will take too much damage and fall, but if he's buying enough time to get towards 1 or 2 items, he's done his job as a Galio.
And in the last game, NIP really did their job in terms of playing their composition to its strengths. Although it took them a little bit longer to get there, they were outputting more damage per minute than Mysterious Monkeys were. You can see Prophet, Nagne, and Hiku all outmatching their opponents in terms of the damage they did in each minute.
Especially Prophet with the Gnar here, as we mentioned, good 1v1 pressure, walk into fights as well. And the thing about Bruisers is even Renekton falls in this category here, like, they have so much damage against squishy targets, even in the late game, just based on having like a Black Cleaver. Like, that's enough, because these AD carries, they don't get armor. They don't get enough defensive tools to stop a Renekton or a Gnar from being a threat. So these top laners here can actually have a lot of individual carry power, despite not being a pure tank, as we see on the side of Kikis.
And I like to see that carry power being put over to Prophet, because he was one of the big names for this NIP team when he joined. You know, he's a former
He was
SKT
the biggest
player.
name.
He was, although perhaps Shook in EU is perhaps slightly well.
No, trust me. Everyone saw Prophet and they're like, yeah, he's the biggest name.
Okay. Nagne?
Nope.
Nagne went to Worlds.
Prophet. He did, but Prophet, he came from SKT, and everyone were kind of like, okay, let's see what this man can do. And
I don't think we've ever mentioned that he came from SKT before. I think that's something we should have hit on a few more times.
I think it's a great point. So everyone, Prophet came from SKT. Yeah. Rumors said that maybe he could have been a starter, but he got to play a few games.
I mean, now that Huni's dropped out of favor at SKT, maybe Prophet and Huni are going to switch back and we'll get Huni back in Europe.
But yeah, maybe Huni role swaps and he joins NIP as well, and both Prophet and Huni are there, and NIP Gallus is like sub-SKT team.
But then you have to get rid of Nagne.
Yeah, okay, that's true. I like Nagne, so...
Yeah, so do I. I think he's played very well across this series. Had a very good game in game 1. On that, Galio did exactly what he needed to do, and here is doing the same, as he has a small CS lead. There's a big lead for Prophet in that top lane, as we would expect of Officio. About the 20 farmer.
Trying to use the advantage to get Rift Herald to actually break open the game here. You want to get that first tower down. When you're running the composition that are looking to abuse a winning matchup like the Renekton top, if you're NIP, just like last game, you run with plenty of engage with the Jarvan and the Ashe to see if you can actually force fights.
So at the 12-minute mark, we've got a small gold lead for NIP, about 2,000. I've said this before, Officio. I feel a little bit of deja vu coming in from game 1. Items are starting to be hit, and Cosq's actually gone double scaling with the Catalyst of Aeons and the Tear on this Cassiopeia.
I want to see for Cosq if he wants Abyssal Mask in that mid lane. Something we see quite frequently right now. Blitz Esports as well made a little bit of a breakdown on why it is a good item.
But it tends to work better. I watched the same video when you've got double AP on the enemy team, and there's not as much AP on the enemy team as perhaps there could be.
I mean, that is definitely true, but the item in itself just gives other things as well than just pure defensive tools, like the cooldown reduction is great for it. The aura, as we mentioned before here on the broadcast as well, being 700 range with the increased magic damage, is the same as Twin Fangs, her E, Cassiopeia. So it is pretty easy to use it effectively to actually deal more damage. And you gotta remember, other people benefit from it on your team, like the Gragas and the Galio, they deal magic damage. So they're like, thanks, Cassiopeia. You are now supporting our DPS.
Rifto being used in the mid lane by NIP. No minions here. They've been cleared out. The smite comes down from Amazing, but I think Rifto will still get a good chunk down on towards that tower and doesn't quite take it, but sets Nagne up in a good position now that he's completed the Nash's Tooth to be able to harass down that tower.
Yeah, and when you're looking at Azir in the late game, you have to think about his ulti and how much value he can bring against a lot of these engaged champions who need to kind of run towards their Azir to get in range for the gap closer. That's where his wall can kind of just say, nope, stay right there, you're not going further, unless people can flank their Azir or have flashes ready. That's what we got to see from Mysterious Monkey's side. Things like Alistar used to be good answers when Azir was meta, because if you are a good Alistar player, you find that flank or you find the Q flash engage, and then Azir is stuck, and then he's not getting out. And Azir, of course, is a champion who needs multiple attacks off to really be successful. Constantly auto-attacking with the high attack speed and his soldiers. If you can lock him down early, he is weak. If you can't, he can win the fight 1v5.
Both teams settled into scaling up here, Deficio. Feels very much like game one, and I'm wondering if we're going to have a repeat of game one coming into the later game. One or two big team fights just defining the way that this game ends up. Is there a point at which either of these teams is ready to pull the trigger? Are they waiting for specific items or specific objectives to come up?
I mean, technically at this point here, both teams could start playing more aggressive, but because there's no clear objective for them to go for on the side of Mysterious Monkeys, they don't really have a lane where they say, this is where we're going to fight. I think if you're NIP, the mid lane tower is your goal. There you can see already they're moving Renekton down. Let's see bot lane though, Amazing is trying to find something.
Sprossel on point with the black shield.
Look, mid lane though, again, they're all moving in for this mid lane tower. That's the easy objective for NIP. Arrow flying.
Here we go. Misses, but the tower is low. Coscu jumped on. Here comes the ultimate from Kikis though, and they try and turn it back around onto Shook. Damage coming down from Naga off towards the side, and NIP unable to get the tower down yet.
Oh, there was a 3v2 situation, but Prophet took the long route around the tower, took a few shots as well when he moved in, so not able to actually even get a summoner spell from Coscu. Quite interesting situation. NIP had a very easy turret to kill.
Good communication from Mysterious Monkeys though, because they realized that could happen. Kikis came down into ultimate range, is only level 2 at the moment, so he needs to be there. And we wondered how he'd be on these tanks. Shows us that on the Galio, he knows when he needs to be around to help his teammates.
It's a good setup, yeah, good defense from Mysterious Monkeys, but they're still kind of lacking that easy lane to play around. Top lane, it's not it. Mid lane, it's hard to lock down this long-range Azir. Bot lane with the black shields in the way. Let's see what happens here. Coscu flash.
But Nagne's going to flash in response. There's the Dark Binding. There's the lockup. There's the kill onto Coscu. NIP react in the mid lane.
And this time around, they get the kill in the mid lane. This is what we mentioned with them looking towards this low mid lane tower. I wanted to see this combo from Nagne earlier. Pair it up with Shook's engage. It's easy to lock down Coscu.
NIP are like on a timer. You know when you take a photo or you put up a selfie to Fisher? It's like 3 minutes later, that's when NIP are going to take the photo that we want to see. So just delay everything by about 3 minutes.
That's a long timer. That's a very long timer. Very specific with the 3 minutes as well. Normally it's like 5 or 10 seconds, but you're right. NIP take their time.
Exhaust down onto Yuki. He has the Blade of the Ruin King trying to put the damage down. Shook there as well, but now Yuki and Dreams might be a little bit out of position. Teleport coming in from Kikis. Amazing's on his way as well. It's up to Hiku to put the damage down. Nagne across the wall gets the kill, and Prophet's joined the fight as well. He's teleported in. Dreams trying to get the knock-up, knocks back, but gets taken out. NIP get 2 kills and only lose 1.
Oh, it's looking so bad for the Mysterious Monkeys right now. Azia's getting kills in the early game. This Azir pick will be so huge later on, and it's been a great start for Nagne. Went even in the laning phase. Now he started actually making plays on Coscu. We see this play set up here. This is what you can do. Like, there's no way out as a Cassiopeia. As soon as Azir feels safe to dive onto you, he flashes, you flashes.
Well, it's what we want to see as well from NIP. Here, it looks like Sprossel gets caught out by NIP adapt and react.
You have a good call for NIP saying, you know what, take the fight. Yes, you might lose your support, but Nagne is on his way down. We actually do come to live because Hiku just died, and so did Amazing. I think we saw in the little box in the bottom left corner that Mysterious Monkeys were making a play near the bot lane tower.
PQ is dead, but Nagne is not, and he is still one of the main sources of damage for NIP. They now have almost a 5,000 gold lead.
And Nagne might get killed now, because Dreams is trying to flank him.
Nagne, no flash, does have the Shurima Shuffle and the Emperor's Divide.
Cosq is a miasma there, just not down in time to stop Nagne from getting out.
Can you shuffle away as Azir? Because you can flank and drag away as Jarvan. I wonder if it's the same sort of idea. We'll have to see if it happens. We'll have to see if it happens in this show.
Do have to see.
Dragon eventually gets taken by NIP. It's a Mountain Drake. It's what they would love to have with an Ashe and with an Azir. Get those damage down onto the objectives.
Exactly, and Nagne before this was sitting on 3,000 gold. He went back and used it now. So this is what happens in the replay. Prophet actually came down. All 5 of NIP are moving to this bottom lane. I think Amazing realized there's no way out. Takes a kill in return. But it is still a 1-for-1 where, once again, NIP get a kill for one of these big carries they have. 2-0 Renekton. Remember, as we talked about, he will get tanky towards the late game, and we still have enough damage to be a threat against the squishy targets.
And it means that Kickers is going all armor as well on this Galio. So as soon as that Galio joins the fight where Nagne's there, he is going to get absolutely shredded by those soldiers.
Yeah, the Void Staff coming in this early is actually a little bit surprising because, as you said, there's not a lot of MR build up. Fight in the mid lane though.
Explosive cast will knock Nagne back, but he shuffles under the tower. Amazing has not been on his A game yet today, the Fish Show. He's one of the members of Mysterious Monkeys who was brought in to try and really facilitate them to get off the bottom of the table. Wasn't able to manage that, and now he needs to step up. He's been in 5 promotion tournaments. He's been in this position and won every single time in the past. He needs to help them win today.
He's looking for a kill in the mid lane against Shook. So is Kickis.
Miasma with the grind. Shook cataclysms in and then dodges away, and Amazing doesn't land the body slam. Great play by Shook. The arrow comes down in between the goal posts, but Nagne is not done. Shurima Shuffle back on Amazing into the Dark Binding, into the heroic entrance, and now Kickers has put himself in the midst of NIP, trying to save his buddy, but he's going to fall as well. 2 kills to NIP, and Nagne is rampaging through Mysterious Monkeys.
It just feels like every single play from Mysterious Monkeys, it backfires. They can't execute the first setup, and then NIP get time to react. They have enough mobility on their composition to re-engage. Shook on this Jarvan is very successful again in the fight, and is Nagne picking up kills. They're going for a 20-minute Baron.
With an Azir who is fed, you can do this. The Baron down, they're going to get it as well. NIP, second Baron of the series, looking to close out this game against the Mysterious Monkeys.
Let's see the replay. Amazing, and Kick is on the way to try and shut down Shook. So Cosq gets the damage off first. Nice little turnaround here from the Jarvan. And then Shook is actually doing everything he can to just stay alive. And Kick is never joined the fight. Amazing didn't have ulti ready. And look at the re-engage. There's no flash on the Gragas. Great setup from Nagne again on the Azir. And now it's easy kills.
Yeah. When there's only armor on him and Nagne's free hitting from the side, that is very easy for NIP. And it's so much more what we wanted to see from the Ninjas in Pyjamas. So much stronger in these team fights. Decisive calls, a 7,000 gold lead, 21 minutes in, and fed carries as well, Deficio.
And we gotta just talk about the mental part as well. You are sitting here as Mysterious Monkeys. You lose the first game. You couldn't really execute your comp. Second game, you try and make plays, you try and force plays. Bot lane, a lot of engages happen. Never really broke the Black Shield, only killed Spraddle once. Okay, screw the bot lane. Let's go mid lane then and make some plays. What is this now? We don't get kills here either. Nagne just sits there and takes all the kills for himself and then goes Baron. You break. Like, everything you worked for is not working. And if you're down 2-0 in the losers match in the promotion tournament, it seems almost impossible for you to come back. You need that miracle third game all of a sudden.
We've seen them in the past for sure. It's not an impossibility. Reverse sweeps are definitely a thing in League of Legends and can sometimes lead to the greatest resurgences of teams throughout the course of European and League of Legends history. However, the Mysterious Monkeys now are in a point where they have to reset and expect for the next game. You can't really expect to win this game. Even if you get to the late game, you're dealing with an Azir who almost has 3 completed items 22 minutes in. He's got Void Stuff, he's got Nash's Tooth.
Yeah.
He's 2-0-3. You've got a Renekton who's fed in the side lane. They've still got Baron buff for a minute and a half. Mysterious Monkeys are so far behind in this game that you can only look to game 3.
Or you hope that NIP are suddenly getting really sloppy in the way they play, but...
They've done it in the past.
They have, but with the way Nagne is playing in this game together with Shook, it doesn't feel like NIP at all will start slipping up, because it's been a very solid Azir game. Great positioning, good use of ultis we've seen here in the last 10 minutes as well, and as you said there, Mysterious Monkeys, they don't have the late game, because this Azir is the late game insurance that NIP needed.
They're looking for the top tower as well. 7 kills to 3 up. They have rattled through these turrets with this Baron buff. Still a minute remaining on it, waiting for the next wave. Could go and catch it if they wanted to get it there a bit quicker, but Shook wants to go into Kosku. The arrow comes out and hits onto Yuki instead. Kosku had to flash. And once again, we see a summoner down on that mid lane Cassiopeia.
We're looking at the black shields every single time. Put them on Nagne, give him Ardent Sensor as well, why not? And then you can't engage on the Azir. Look at him, he's just so confident. Step forward, the long range.
What we wanted to see from NIP, executing their composition. And they're looking for an inhibitor line here.
Yeah, this is more what we expected from NIP coming into the promotion tournament. Obviously, they were playing against a great Giants lineup, and Mysterious Monkeys are looking like a weaker version of that. But let's see the fight.
Chain of Corruption doesn't connect. Shook in the front line, going to jump over the miasma. NIP going to re-engage, though. Here comes the damage from Prophet, the Dominus as well. Amazing knocks back. Here's Kikis, tries to get into the front of the fight, and Hiku somehow is on the wrong side. He will eventually fall, but 2 members of the Mysterious Monkeys die as well. NIP looking for the re-engage. Yuki has to flash away. Dreams gets taken out. A double for Nagne, and is this the game for NIP?
Let's see, 24 minutes in, they still have the Baron buff. Sadly for them, they just killed the first inhib, so no super minions just yet, but they will just say, you know what? We don't want the game just yet. We need more towers down first. Guarantee the win. That's what NIP are going for. I think it is the correct call. They only had the normal minion wave top.
Shook still with that Baron buff for just a couple of seconds longer. They won't be able to break that second inhibitor, but they have broken the 10,000 gold lead mark. Now 12k ahead, Deficio. And only 25 minutes in, that is a monumental lead for Ninjas in Pyjamas.
And they can go back once again. Nagne can spend another 2,500 gold on this Azir. Look at this. Black shield for the Ardent Sensor proc and the protection. Step forward, play confident, and force the enemy away. Morgana as a support, while in this case here, the Black Shield did not block anything, she offers this safety for these late game carries in a hard engaged meta. That is so crucial, and which is why we see a lot of teams value her highly. It's been a good pick for NIP this game. The engage did happen onto Shook. He played it safe, and then look at the Renekton damage. Jumps in, flashes onto the squishies. Ton of damage coming in. On the side of Mysterious Monkeys, while they get Hiku, that's the only thing.
Why is he there? Like how
he must have gotten knocked back.
Yeah, must be an explosive car.
I didn't look at either the Gragas or Alistar specifically in the fight here, but they must have gotten onto Hiku. And you gotta keep in mind, Hiku right now, he's a support. It's Nagne who's their carry, so he's the one who gets the Black Shield. Hiku is just like, guys, I have cooldown reduction, I can land an arrow, is that okay?
And it's been working for NIP. He landed a bunch of good arrows in game 1. There actually burnt Kosku's flash with the arrow early on under that first tower. An Ocean Drake now for NIP. Perhaps not the best dragon late on, but you'll take it. Redemption and Ardent Sensor finished. And it's not often that you see an Ardent Sensor that works on a mid lane AP mage, but on Azir, it can definitely help out.
You just want more and more attack speed. Shoot away with the soldiers. I even want to see Mikhails come in if the game goes that long, just in case, you know, any CC ever do manage to connect.
Don't think that game is going to go that long. Arrow comes out, it whiffs. It's the third missed one we've seen this game, but Nagne's pushing down the mid lane. That's an inhibitor tower down, and NIP can group up mid. They're going to catch out Amazing off towards the side. He tries to knock up Shook, won't be able to do it. As Shurima shuffle across the wall. Nagne just pushing through the damage onto the Mysterious Monkeys. They are getting melted, destroyed and dominated by Nagne. 15 kills to 4. NIP are going to take their second win in this best of 5.
NIP looks so good today. They're destroying the Mysterious Monkeys, and what an advantage now. 2-0 up. They're going to the third game, having done well now twice. And Nagne showing a new pick for him in the EU LCS. And it was successful.
NIP, there's nothing ninja about that. They break down the front door and they go 2-0 up over the Mysterious Monkeys.
Fun game to watch if you are an NIP fan.
Not a fun game to watch if you're a Mysterious Monkeys fan.
Definitely true. And once again, we see NIP here being able to rely on good individual laners like Prophet, like Nagne, to actually do their jobs, not fall behind early, and then when they get a small advantage, snowball it. But obviously it's not just about those two guys. Like bot lane were under a lot of pressure. Spratla and Hiku stayed alive. They did the best they could to just play as safe as possible. And of course, Shook has found a lot of success on Java now. If you're Mysterious Monkeys, you gotta reconsider this red side. I thought they picked it to counter pick for Kikis. They locked in a Galio and said, we just want to try and survive lane and then hopefully we can win team fights. But that was countered completely, and I think also when you start seeing that Azir, you gotta pivot a little bit and be like, is Galio really the choice? Because right now, you're just building more tanks in your composition against a guy who is fantastic against tanks.
And you have to give None credit as well, cracking out a new pick in the tournament, the series for your lives, the game that you're really trying to win. It's very impressive. Ninjas in Pyjamas are fighting to remain in the European LCS and took another crucial victory in Game 2. Here are Dracos and Stress to break it down.
So much to talk about here, Medic, and I think the first thing we're going to look at is picks and bans. Now, of course, the immediate standout pick is going to be the Azir, something that we have not seen in a very long time.
Yeah, well, we've seen a couple of games in Europe and it hasn't actually found success. So glad to see it actually have a win here. And I don't want to go too much results before we go move off the draft. The Azir was a great pick. I like it. But the Galio pick, I don't like the Galio pick. And here's the reason. Because if you're putting Galio top lane and you already know you're into a Renekton, generally, you know you're losing that matchup. Not a lot of things beat Renekton in the lane, but don't lose it in a matchup that's so heavily defeated in lane, pushed in, and yes, they want to try and have that emphasis with the ultimate to roam later on in the game, but as Deficio was just saying, you're trying to build tanks into a tank buster in the middle lane that you're not going to be able to threaten properly with Cassiopeia and the Galio. They're never going to catch that Azir.
It's like two of the best champions in terms of kiting, right? We have an Azir and an Ashe on the opposite side, and you're picking the only way the Mysterious Monkeys can realistically set up a fight is Alistar going in and having, or alternatively the Gragas, of course, and having the Galio all come in, but Wall, no, arrow the Alistar as he's coming in, everything falls apart. It feels like they 100% got outpicked and banned. And on top of that, you mentioned the Renekton matchup. And as we look at our first replay, you can see that that went just as terribly as you expected, because not only was Renekton dominating his lane, he was freely able to walk into Amazing's jungle and pull off this fantastic play.
Yeah, Prophet knows he's got the lane push. Like, there is nothing really that can be done there from Kikis' perspective to get out of the lane. He's too far pushed in, and as you see, Amazing, a little bit unfortunate on not being able to escape over the wall, but still, that's the presence of that Renekton in the lane. This is what Renekton will always give you, and picking Galio into it, who will lose the early lane anyway, really isn't the way forward.
No, definitely not. Shook having a good time. A solid showing for him in the entire NIP roster. And unfortunately, this point in the game, NIP definitely looked in control. It was a little bit back and forth, but NIP were starting to build a gold lead and Stress. Then as we moved into the mid game, I feel like Mysterious Monkeys decided, if we don't make a play right now, we're going to lose the game. And they just kept trying to force plays, and a lot of them backfired.
Yeah, this one was an attempt where Amazing, he initially tried to engage the fight, ends up getting pushed back under the tower. Kikis desperately tries to save Amazing, but at this point, I don't think Mysterious Monkeys are even on the same page with regards to how they're anticipating these fights to go, because Kikis didn't need to go in there. Amazing was dead already, and it's that snap decision-making that we know Kikis and Amazing typically come out very successful from when they play pretty much do or die with each other. Again, this time Amazing's caught under a mid-tower with 3 or 4 people around him from the enemy team. Like, these kind of ultimates being used just undid everything Mysterious Monkeys wanted to do with their composition, because they couldn't do anything from behind.
And at that point, right, that's the play that ultimately gets NIP Baron. Baron starts to snowball, and looking at this game, right, we talked a lot about, you know, hey, maybe Amazing should take his sights off top lane, but Amazing not ganking top lane is not the same as Kikis being set up for failure from Champion Select. And I feel like, yes, you should be willing to put him on a tank, but you need to be putting him on a tank that is okay losing the lane, that is still going to be relevant. And that, when you're against a Renekton and you're building a tank that wants to stack magic resist and you're building art, like, nothing about this clicks for me. It doesn't line up.
That's the thing. If you're going to draft a tank, if Galio is even a possibility in your draft, ban Renekton. Just ban it. Like, get it out of there. Don't let them pick the lane-dominant champion if you don't have something prepared for it.
Personally, I just feel like we should never, ever see Galio in the top lane. He does not ascend. He cannot alt-bottom from top lane. He can only go mid if he's playing the top lane. It doesn't look good. But as much as we're talking about top lane, Azir still was the absolute king of this game. And as we look at this last play I had some very strong feelings that I won't repeat about Nagne destroying this team fight, but you can just see how powerful this pick is.
Oh, just beautiful play from Nagne. Goes from Lord of the Pit to Emperor of the Rift at this point on the Azir. Just destroys Mysterious Monkeys. Just the crowd control, the damage that comes out of Azir. Like, as soon as he gets past the 2 to 3 item point, that point he has to Rylai's as well. It's overkill. Nobody ever gets away, but just that tank shredder, that is why Azir is an option for tanks.
God, 42.6% of his team's damage. That's a very large number, folks. He did 2.5 people worth of damage as a single person. So that surprises me. But aside from that, I'm wondering what went wrong with Cosq in the mid lane moving forward, that Azir was allowed to just sit in lane and go even on farm and was never really contested in the mid lane. And I'm starting to wonder. Now, admittedly, I do not know the intimate details of Azir versus Cassio as a matchup. Maybe this is what happens. Maybe this is just a surprise counter pick. But I don't feel like there's any situation where Cassio, a champion that can be hyper-aggressive early, should be suffering against Azir, a champion who has very, very little damage in the early game.
Very little damage, but a lot of range in the early game is one of the key things. Deficio talked about it a little going into the game, where Azir can sit back, wave clear for a while, and until you get an item or two, you don't really have a lot of threat. But if there's nobody else coming to your lane for a lot of the time, then Azir just has a lot of freedom, can just move back to the tower and not concede too much at the same time. And a lot of it is the fact that Amazing, the early plays where he got caught, also has that impact on mid lane, where Cosq can't quite play as aggressively because there could be people behind him coming over the Raptors. Who knows at that point? Like, Cosq had to play a little safer than he would have liked.
All right, to round things out, you predicted a 3-1 for NIP. Well, you're on the road to the NIP prediction, but not on the road to the 3-1. Do you think Mysterious Monkeys are going to fire back here and get a game, or is this just going to be a 3-0 for Ninjas in Pyjamas?
Because I don't want to jinx it, I'm going to stick with my prediction. That's a bit of a cop-out, I think. NIP are looking very, very strong, and it is well within their possibility to end it here.
Definitely is the case. Well, Mysterious Monkeys are also under tremendous pressure as they are 1 loss away from Challenger. Let's see if they can stay alive in Game 3 coming up in just a minute.
Vital match